welcome to TheoTrade. This is Don Kaufman. It's December 17th, 2019, and you are watching the TheoTrade evening video. Just about an hour left to go inside of today's trading session, which is seeing the markets, well, massively unchanged. But I want to remind everybody that even though we're seeing a rather docile kind of trade here on this Tuesday, don't people necessarily get off your game, because we're still looking ultimately at a quite a substantial expected move. Remember, this is a 46-point expected move this week, and where are we right now? We started out that week somewhere right around that 31, kind of 70-ish. Here we are butting up against 3,200. The upside of that expected move, though, is all the way at 32.15. Nevertheless, again, still anticipate some volatility as this week kind of progresses. Today's trading session, well, is really brought to you all by the financials, which are, again, up another 20 cents, literally right now sitting at their all-time high. You got to go all the way back in time here to effectively the financial crisis to actually see us eclipse into the all-time high territory, specifically inside of the financials. With this being a little bit of a slower day, you know, there's a lot of discussion, if you will, about market manipulation, and I really wanted to bring it to the forefront of well, this evening's video, and that discussion is going to lead us to none other than the Dow Jones, because you get the question all the time. You look at the marketplace day in and day out, especially lately, right? Just grinding a little higher, and I'll talk about like negative gamma kind of grinding us to the upside. However, I think that it's time for me to spend, well, a couple of minutes going through showing how an entire index product can absolutely be manipulated, and that's to the upside or to the downside. I'm going to dig into that right here, right now. Okay, what you're looking at right now is, well, it's the Dow. Okay, it's the Dow Jones, 30 stocks inside of the Dow. But what I've actually done in this list is I've actually gone here and I've sorted based on the last price. Okay, so obviously Boeing being the largest at $327 stock, then to United Healthcare, Apple, and so forth down the list. And the reason I've actually sorted, again, you can sort kind of ascending or descending in this case, obviously Pfizer being about a $38, $39 stock. The reason I've sorted is, well, the Dow, okay, is probably the easiest place to explain manipulation within an index product. And, well, the reason for that is it's how the Dow is actually calculated. It has everything to do with what's termed Dow divisor. I don't want to go too deeply into the Dow divisor side of things, but I do want to explain to you, okay, how the Dow works. For the most part, okay, when a Dow stock moves, it doesn't matter whether it's Pfizer, okay, or whether it's Boeing. All right, do we have big enough drawing tools on over there? It doesn't matter whether it's Pfizer, whether it's Boeing. When a Dow stock moves, okay, up or down. Again, this is up or down, $1. That's the about equivalent, okay, of a 7-point move, okay, in the Dow itself. Really, with the Dow divisor the way it is right now, I'm just rounding it up to 7. It's closer to like 6.8. But for a dollar move in any of these products, you're getting what? Okay, well, it's a 7-point move inside of the Dow Jones, okay, industrial average. Why does this really matter? Why do I explain it a little bit? Well, to give you just a brief example, look at something like, I don't know, come down the list over here. Let's take a look at Intel. I mean, you realize Intel could be moving what? $5. Okay, so Intel, let's say, moves up or down $5 in a day. You know, $5, $6 move in Intel, you got to recognize that'd be like 10%. That'd be like a 10% move almost, 9-10% move inside of Intel, which is a staggering move for a product like that. Okay, but it doesn't matter, okay, about the 10% move. Doesn't matter, okay? All that matters is that Intel would have moved what? Plus or minus $5. If it moves plus or minus $5, take that, multiply it by 7 points. What do you got? Okay, that's going to impact the Dow by about 35 points. Then you start looking at stocks like Boeing or United Healthcare and Apple. Okay, let's start with Boeing. I mean, Boeing lately, it's been in the news. Yesterday had almost a $15 day to the downside, but neither here nor there. You realize how easy it is for Boeing to move up or down $5. Okay, like look at the low versus the high in Boeing today. Obviously, again, Boeing's got some news, but for the most part, you got like a 10-point range in there, 10-point range. So I'm just talking about a $5 move, that's nothing. This thing every single day pretty much moves about $10. It moves $10. Okay, that influences the Dow by what? 7 points for every $1 move. Next thing you know, you got the Dow influenced by 70 full points just because of Boeing. Okay, so let's now we're starting to get somewhere. By the way, you look at like United Healthcare, it bounces around a little bit too. It's moving like $3, but today is a very low range, kind of docile day. Apple still like $3-4 ranges on a day-to-day basis out there. Push it all aside for a second. So how can one possibly manipulate the Dow with this knowledge? It's actually easy. All you have to do is shove order flow, okay, into 2 or 3 different stocks, and you can actually move the entire Dow. Allow me to show you, okay? This is just an exemplary example as of late. First, let's cruise over to Boeing. So Boeing this year, and I'm actually going to pull this up on a year-to-date percentage. Boeing this year, okay, in effect, it's flat. It's totally flat. So you have effectively the largest constituent of the Dow that is, well, flat on the year. But if you took a look at the Dow itself, now we're actually going to cruise over to the Dow. Dow's up 21%. So how can you have the Dow being up, okay, 20+%? And how does that even compare to the S&Ps? I think it's important, okay, kind of cruise around here. The S&Ps are up 27%. So you're going to learn something really quick. The Dow is actually dragging behind quite considerably to the S&P or, to the Nasdaq, which is Never Land up 35%. So you can see the Dow, okay, is absolutely lagging behind. Why is the Dow lagging behind? Boeing. Okay, I mean, Boeing is really having that much of an influence on the Dow. So again, how can the Dow even be up 21%? I have an answer for that. Okay. Well, if it's not Boeing, they have to look at and fire order flow and direct it towards United Healthcare, and specifically Apple. Have you looked at those underlyings as of late? United Healthcare, is this thing coming out with, the latest, greatest, there's nothing new, okay? We could talk about earnings. We can talk about, any fundamentals to are blue in the face over here. I mean, for the most part, the stock has had a straight shot. It was down 12%. It's now up roughly 20% on the year. You really want to know what's driving a portion of the Dow. Okay, note, okay, that the rally here inside the United Healthcare kicked off in early October with the rest of the marketplace. The irony of that, it's almost the exact same time that Boeing started to see some hideous sell-side activity, the exact same time frame where Boeing really started to collapse much more readily. And compare Apple to that, right? You can see Apple, again, accelerating to the upside. Now, granted, again, Apple has been on a tear for a considerable period of time. It's up some 77%. But people wanted to know, how is a major index product possibly manipulated? Well, in this particular case, if Boeing is not doing it for the marketplace anymore, you could just direct order flow specifically into United Healthcare and Apple. Those two alone are enough to actually count to move the Dow. Well, let's actually go back to United Healthcare, though, for just a second. Forget about percentage gains over here. Look at the price movement. So we went roughly from what? In this case, 220, okay, all the way up to 295, right? In fact, if you really want to like categorize it, even closer to like 210 up to 220. I mean, you're looking at basically at an 80+ point move to the upside. So an 80-point move to the upside, okay? What does that equate to? 80-point move to the upside times basically what? 7, right? Because for every dollar move, you get 7 points of action inside of the Dow. Come over here. Do you realize that 560 points of the Dow movement to the upside, okay, just since what? October. So right now, you're getting 560 points inside of the Dow. What's that look like in terms of Apple? So cruise over to Apple for just a second. All right, we're just going to look at Apple pretty much from the beginning of October, which was a $220 stock, now a $280 stock. What do you got in there? Well, 220 to 280, about 60 points. So go through, run it. Okay, we got 60 points times roughly, we'll call it 7, equals another 420 points. You want to know what's sustaining the Dow? Order flow being driven, okay, largely into 2 different products. Okay, that's how much movement, okay, you can actually create out of, again, literally 2 different products are accounting for almost 1,000 points, okay, in the Dow. Now, once again, let's actually kind of end this looking back at the Dow for just a moment. We'll actually look at the Dow itself. Okay, in that exact time frame, what has the Dow effectively done? Well, the Dow has actually gone from roughly 26,000 all the way up to 28,000. However, half of the move in the Dow, as we just saw, half of the move at the Dow is all, entirely about two individual products. So the next time somebody says, there could be the possibility of market manipulation, explain it a little bit to them. You can effectively move two underlyings and actually shift order flow inside of an entire major index product like the Dow Jones. Thanks everybody for joining us here at TheoTrade. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.